Alright, Shalom, I'm giving all praise unto Yahweh Shema Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles of Great Millstone, and I honor you brothers that be pushing his truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. And above everybody are coming out here to give you this truth for the grace and mercy of Yahweh Shema Kodash. Giving all praise unto Yahweh Shema Kodash. It's going to be a relatively quick video based on the article that you see, the hypocrisy that we hear about, know about, and very rarely gets spoken about within mainstream media, but certainly hypocrisy that needs to be addressed, and we know upon Yahweh's return it's going to be addressed. And in this particular edition of our in transit video, the hypocrisy that we're interested in is the notion that the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, and the children of Israel, and also too some of these other heathens that have traveled out there to Babylon for a so-called better life, are the ones that are holding back the financial prowess of Babylon, which is America. And the reality of the situation is that it's not. Okay, the reality of the situation is that Jake, specifically the Hispanics, the Negroes, well, let's start with the Negroes, because I was going to make a generalism there, but let's be a little bit more specific. If it's going to be a little bit more specific, we understand that Jake is the one that really built up the economy of Babylon, okay? They're the ones that had it to where, you know, all of these fancy buildings that you see out there, the robust economy that you had prior to the 70s was the way it was, because of the free slave labor force that was the Negro, Hispanic, and Native American, but principally Judah, Benjamin, and Levi being in hardcore slavery for a large amount of time, and a couple of 100 years. Now, when you have employees, you're paying national insurance contributions on their behalf, you're paying national insurance, contributions for your staff, you're paying salaries, you come to find out very quickly that the most expensive overhead that you have in running a business, depending on what business it is usually your staffing costs, because your raw materials really could be quite cheap. For example, you think about a bar or a kitchen, your raw materials are really quite cheap, right? Potatoes, right? For your chips, okay, some chicken or whatever. You're talking a couple £100 for a week's worth of stock, depending on your throughput. And then obviously you got to have a guy behind the counter, whether that's going to be you or not you. Somebody's got to flip them burgers. Somebody's got to shake them fries up. So you find out that your biggest expense in any endeavor when it comes to business is going to be staffing costs. And that's a fixed cost that whenever you got staffing, you got to pay your staff, right? Now, when you had Esau put the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans in hardcore slavery, and they lasted 400 or 500 years of just them endeavoring to get rich, that was a long time. And a lot of labor that they got for free for all intents and purposes, man. And that was allowed them, it gave them the ability to have and amass a huge amount of wealth, okay? It allowed them to amass a huge amount of wealth, which when you see a lot of these companies out here, these heritage companies that have been there for the longest time, Lloyd's Insurance and Lloyd's, TSB and Barclays, all of this, and Tate and Lau, just a few names that come to the mind initially. This is what you know as old money. This is money that came from slavery. So let's not try to put Jake out here as the problem with America's position within its history right now. The reality of the situation is America's problem with where it is within history right now is you're spending a lot of money and a lot of resources on things that don't perpetuate wealth, okay, and prosperity. Namely, all of these wars that you have out there. And we see Rome fell in the same way, by the way. Okay? Rome fell in the same way via what's known as what's the word I'm looking for here? It's gonna come to mind in a second. It's gonna come to mind. Bear with me as the word comes to mind. Quantitative easing. You got quantitative easing. You spread your army too thin. You're spending most of your money on wars, which we see this is the case right now. 25 billion. That cost of 25 billion for a couple of days worth of war. You ain't gonna be up in there, man. Nobody said you had to be up there. Say Amalek telling you gotta go up in there. Nobody said that there was Jake, Esau really have you believe that they was just chilling at home and these Iranians, right? These Iranians all of a sudden caused them issues and they had to deal with it there and then. That's not what happened, man. That's not what happened. Dude was chilling out there, okay, having some kebab, having a tea with no milk in it, with 4 or 5 sugars. You know how the Arabs drink tea. We'll have 4 or 5 sugars, no milk in a glass cup. Okay, having some kebab and some pita bread. These dudes was chilling, man. And then here comes the orange man. The orange man says, look, man, look, you're a threat. We're gonna get rid of you. Okay, you're a threat. We gotta get rid of you. Now tell me, was it Jake that spent 25 billion? Was it the Israelites that spent 25 billion? Was it the Hispanics that 25 billion? Okay, on a lesser extent, but we know also these guys are being used as a means of as a scapegoat, right? They're also saying that these Somalis that come to this country, they're holding us back, or these immigrants that come over to the country, they're holding us back. Nobody told you to go roll up in there and spend 25 billion in 6 days, man. Okay, nobody told you to do that. You did that off the back of your own accord. Now use all of these diversionary tactics to have you not look at really what the problem is. The problem is you're greedy. And through your greed, really, you've spread yourself too thin, and you've endeavored in things that are not prosperous. But that's all according to prophecy, man. Okay, that's all according to prophecy. According to the scriptures within the book of Obadiah, it says when you was going to set your head amongst the stars, then wasn't the Most High going to bring you down. That's what it says. It said when you was going to get up on a particular level, the Most High was going to start slowing you down. That's what it says. And this is exactly what happened after the 70s. You had a period of prosperity. Now you're mired in the SHIT. Okay? You're mired in the SHIT. As for your gold, your silver, man, them Arab nations, and really Gog and Magog, which is Russia, which symbolizes Russia and the states of living in right now, they ain't going to regard that, man. They ain't going to be looking at that and thinking, okay, yeah, all right, we're going to take some peas from you and we're going to leave off for this war that we're going to have, which is the World War III. No, they're going to go out there to war. They're going to go out there into war. This thing's going to escalate. You're going to spend more money, and then the narrative's going to fall apart that Jake's the problem, and really that you're the problem, which is what these nations out there, these European nations are starting to really realize. Amalek and Babylon are the problem with the earth. Amalek and Babylon, which is America, are the problem with the earth. It's not everybody else. It's you. You're the problem. You're the one that needs to be removed. You're the one that needs to be, you're the issue that needs to be rectified. And upon Yahweh's turn, that's gonna be the case. In any event, with that, I'm gonna say praise unto Yahweh Mashiach, Bashim Koah HaKodash. Double honors unto the apostles of great millstone, and the honest brothers, they be pushing his truth in sincerity. I'll see you on the next one. Shalom.